Welcome, guys, again
Oh,
with Tom and Jim. I'm your host, Jeff Greenwald. Next to me, this kooky, crazy guy, Daniel Dye, who's an actor and and he loves the No-Mobile. And above me is Tom Goldrup, Jim Goldrup, Tom Goldrup. They are actors, they are writers, they are film historians. They have done a lot of crazy things, traveling, film work, writing, you name it. And tonight we're here once again to talk with Tom and Jim. So thank you guys for coming and being here tonight.
Thank you. Well,
thank you for allowing us.
Yes.
Thank you for
And
putting
once, guys, for those of you at home who aren't psychic, we are about as close as we're ever going to be physically in a space in the world. Right now, we are right down the street from each other at this moment. So that's very funny because usually, I'm in some other part of the country.
Dan's still a few miles north of us.
Yeah,
just north.
A jaunt.
Welcome, guys. It's a wonderful, beautiful evening out, and so I appreciate you guys taking the time to be here in front of a computer and talking with us rather than being out in the wonderful sun. Basking in the day, blah blah blah. Tom, we were talking, and you just mentioned something, and so I don't know how long this is going to go, but I can't just let this slide. The time you almost died making a movie.
Okay, this is back in 1966.
Say no more.
I was in Australia.
That was before my hippie days. Jim was in Australia, so he wasn't there. But my brother Ray and I, we were out in Utah for a few months, and we drove down to Capitol Reef just to kind of national monuments, Red Rock country, where we like hiking around. And we drove down there, and they happened to be making a movie there at the time, and so we met with them, and they said if we wanted to do extra work in the movie, you do it for the love of doing it, and it won't be no pay. It was an independent film, and the Western called The Lonely Man at that time, but when it got released finally, it was called Five Bloody Graves.
Robert Dix, John Carradine.
Yeah, John Carradine, Scott Brady, Paula Raymond, Jim Davis, Robert Dix were the names. Anyway, we were asked to play a couple of Indians. We're attacking this cabin, and we go running around. The guy's out there shooting at the Indian. Him and his wife are out there shooting at the Indians, and we're running around shooting our rifles in the air instead of shooting at them for some strange reason. But anyway, during one of the scenes, I get killed. I'm dead, and I'm laying out there in the dust, and the Indians riding around on their horses, and I hear a horse coming closer and closer and closer to me. I'm laying down with my head on my hand out like this and my head on the ground, and the horse hoof came very close. I thought about, do I roll out of the way? No.
For you,
yeah, I'm going to explain it. Do I roll out of the way? No, because I don't know where to roll, what way to roll. And the horse hoof went right between my head and my hand. The guy that was riding it, he was the production manager on the show. He was doing extra work as an Indian too, and he apologized to me after saying that he's not used to riding horses, and another horse pushed him, kind of moved him over. But as the dust settled, they asked me, the director up there and stuff said, "Why didn't you move?" I said, "Well, a dead Indian can't move." In between the scenes, my brother Ray and I, and then one of the other actors in the film, our job was to be inside the cabin and put the fire out and everything so it wouldn't burn down when it wasn't supposed to. And the director finally got really upset. The director was Al Adamson. He was an infamous character of low budget exploitation films almost down in LA. He was mysteriously killed once upon a time. But
wait, in the movies, or that really happened?
In real life, he was.
Once upon a time, after a series of unusual circumstances.
Yeah, you can't just go with that.
But he was jumping up and down on the top of the van, yelling and screaming because the camera was filming with the camera when the cabin collapses and everything, and uh, the film had either run out or something, and he didn't get it on film. And he was
Oh
screaming and
no.
yelling. But it was fun. Ray had a scene where he's crawling through the corn patch, and the wife there at the cabin, she turns around and blasts him with a rifle, and he has something strapped to him. He goes flying back through the air, landing. And Ray said during the rehearsals, she kept aiming the gun right at him, and
Not firing it.
not firing it, but aiming it right at him. And he told her,
Don't the powder burn.
don't aim it right at me. It don't look like what, you can aim it at the side and it still looks like it on the camera. So Ray said when he got shot, he let out a yell because he expected her to blast him with the powder burn, but she did it right. But
Who's the director?
the guy that we killed at the cabin, Kent Osborne, is an actor, and he told Ray and I after, he said, if you guys ever come down to LA and want to pursue acting, look him up.
So you and I did.
When Jim and I went down there, we looked him up, and true to his word, except for the film didn't get the backing, another one of those stories, we were going to be going down to Savannah, Georgia, playing a couple of sons in a shooting family. John Carradine was going to be the father of one family and Scott Brady the other. But that's another one, almost.
Yeah.
But that, anyway.
The director, you said Al
Adamson. He was quite a character. At the end of
He
the
was
day,
more interested in the woman.
one of the women there than he was.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Ray and I would help ride the horses back into the corral where they kept.
I'm just wondering if I'm familiar, because this is the type of director that I would know movies from. When you were talking about, oh my gosh, Carnival of Magic. Okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, he did.
That your horse story, it wasn't a theater thing, but reminded me of something I did when I was a kid. My sister hates me for this because I didn't tell her for a long time, but I didn't realize that I hadn't told her. She had bought a Trans Am. It was her first car, and we were in a grocery store parking lot, and I was always curious about those people that would open the door and close it at lights. You'd always see people open the door and close it. And so I'm like, I wonder what that's all about. So we were in the parking lot, and I decided I was going to open and close the car door. Well, I was probably 5, maybe 6 at the time. And so I managed to open the door, but I wasn't strong enough to pull it closed. And so it pulled me out. And I ended up falling and rolling under the car and watching the tire come towards my face. And it stopped less than a foot away from me because my sister realized that I had fallen out. But it reminded me of the horse thing. Because I'm like, you see it coming, you're like, what are you going to do?
that would be scarier than the horse because I just heard it coming. You saw it coming.
Well, Dan,
when I was a baby,
Oh yeah,
I was a little baby, and I had the like Popeye's little kid had a long gown the babies used to wear.
Yeah.
Had on, and my dad was in the car, and the family was out. I was supposed to be in the house. And the family was out singing before he leaves, and then when he went to back up, he started backing up, and the lady across the street says, "Ah, the baby!" My dad stopped to put the brake on, got out. The car had started to run over the gown. Any further, it would squash me.
Oh, jeez.
And that would have been a mess. You had to squeeze.
Yeah. After that, my dad always checked around the car before he would back up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dan, you told me a story of almost dying once when you were a kid at Great America.
Oh, yeah.
You were so small that you slid out of the roller coaster?
Yeah, it was the demon. Yes. So I was another thing where I was like, oh, I wonder what people do. So it was, everyone puts their hands up, right? Well, the roller coaster was going down the thing, and I put my hands up, but I put them through the bars, and I was really small, and so it went upside down, and I started to slip out of it, and I remember seeing the rocks there, and then the person next to me, which it was not a family member, so I don't know who this person was, grabbed my leg and pulled me back in. Yeah. I have many,
You had a few
many.
close calls.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, many.
I was much more respective of the possibility of dying than anyone else apparently, and I have no stories like this.
I have tons of them.
One time I was on the back of a motor scooter going down the Valo Boulevard. A friend was driving it and I was on the back, and I got tired of I'm getting tired sitting here. And a thought flashed through my mind, well, all you have to do is let go and you don't have to worry about sitting there anymore. Next thing I knew, I was rolling along the road.
No.
I didn't get hurt really. I mean, I got banged up.
Wow.
I really should be the only person sitting here. Like, you guys should all be long gone.